Thank you. Before we move on to the adoption of the agenda, I just want to, as a board, send out our deepest sympathies and prayers to the family of Jose Marino. That happened before our after our last meeting, so we just wanted to send that out. Moving to number 2, adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
On to number 3, Mr. Stokes, superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, guests that are here in our audience. I'd like to welcome you to our meeting. I'd like to begin, Madam President, by introducing Michelle Lewis, who's a longtime administrator at Carson High School, and she's also our resident expert on career and technical education programs within our district. And she is here to introduce special guests that we have here this evening, so I'd like to introduce Michelle Lewis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stokes. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, members of the school district, and guests. I am Michelle Lewis. I am the administrator for Career and Technical Education through the Race to the Top program, mostly at Carson High School, but also with Pioneer. And tonight we have some special guests. We have, as you know, we have 4 career and technical student organizations in the district. We have HOSA, which is our health occupation students. We have Skills USA, which represents a number of programs that we have at the high school. We have FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, and we have our FFA group, which is students who are possibly interested in a career in agriculture science. And they have just returned from their national convention in Louisville, Kentucky, and once again made Carson City School District look proud. I'd like to introduce Mr. Mann, the agriculture science teacher.
Need to raise that up a little bit. Well, school board, I want to first thank you so much for allowing my FFA students to go to a national FFA convention. At this time, I'd like my 3 representatives to come up here. So at the National FFA Convention, we had about 70,000 FFA members throughout the United States, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam represented. There at the National FFA Convention, they had one of the largest career fairs for our students to be able to see the different careers out there in agriculture, as well as natural resources and mining. One of the amazing things is that our students, which they're going to talk about in a little bit, were able to represent our state of Nevada. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Hayden Story and Nora Strang to first talk about our state booth.
Hi, good evening. I'm Nora Strang, and I'd like to thank all of you as well as my parents for allowing me to go on this trip. It was a wonderful learning experience, most of all. We were able to go to several leadership workshops while we were in Kentucky, and we were also able to run the Nevada 150 Fair booth, which was pretty neat. There were about 68,000 kids there. There's a special convention center, so that was really neat to meet lots of people, and there were about 5,000 that came to our booth, and so we got to interact with lots of different people and learn new things and talk about our agriculture and our state as a whole. And I'd just like to thank you again. Have a good night.
I'm Hayden Story. I'd like to thank you guys and my parents for letting me go on this trip. And we weren't just there for that, we were also there as tourists representing Nevada, kind of. We were able to see Churchill Downs and Louisville Slugger Museum, as well as multiple agricultural attractions. And it was just a great experience overall, definitely one that anybody should have the chance to have. Thank you.
And then at this time, I'd like to introduce Caden Lehman, who was back there to compete at the national level, and he's going to talk a little bit about the award that he received.
Good evening. I'm Caden Lehman, as Mr. Mann said, and I'd like to thank you guys for letting me go on this trip. It's a big honor, and I'd also like to thank my parents for forking up a little bit of money to let me go and allowing me to go experience different parts of the world. But Kentucky was really cool. I got to compete in the dairy handler contest, which they have at NGLS, and it's the state contest. And so I went up there and competed, and I ended up winning the state contest up there, which allowed me to go back to Louisville for the competition. So we flew back to Louisville and we competed in the competition, and I ended up showing a Holstein heifer. And so a heifer is like a yearling cow or younger, for you guys who don't know what a heifer is. And so I was showing this little heifer, and I showed in 3 different pens. And throughout the 3 different pens, I had a judge judging me the whole time. And I ended up getting a silver emblem, which they have a bronze, silver, and gold emblem. So I did pretty well and represented Nevada really well. And I'd like to just thank you guys for having me tonight.
So again, it was a very successful trip for Carson High School. Our chapter name is Capital FFA, so for Capital FFA and the state of Nevada. So thank you so much for letting us go back there and represent our state.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. Any questions? Is anybody? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr.
I have a question for Caden. How much did you know about the animal that you showed? Were they all trained similarly, or how much time did you have with your animal before you actually began showing her?
So my heifer, I got about 5 minutes before I went in the ring. And by the way, she's acting at the fence post. I knew she was going to be a little wily. So I ended up having to keep tight rein on her and just be really firm with my hands, make sure I had my elbow up, my feet back, and make sure I had my hips underneath me, and made sure I presented the cow as best as I could.
And Caden, how much did she weigh?
She probably weighed about 500 or 600 pounds.
Thank you, guys, and we appreciate you coming and sharing with us. Thank you,
Thank you. I
Mr. Mann, for
appreciate
taking
it.
that on.
Thank you.
Carrying on, Madam President, I'd like to just add my congratulations. I have agricultural background and very interested in the work that's being done at Carson High School, and just like to say congratulations and keep up the good work. Next, I'd like to let our community know that, well, they probably know this already, but no school on Thursday. Of course, that's Thanksgiving, and also on Friday, November the 28th. So happy holidays to all of our community partners, our students, and also our teachers. I also like to let the viewers and the school board know that 5th grade students will be performing on Friday, December the 5th at the city's annual Silver and Snowflake Tree Lighting Ceremony. Those activities will feature some of our elementary students who will be singing Christmas songs, and those activities will begin at 5:30 at the Capitol building. I'd also like to, at this time, introduce Mr. Tim Riley. Tim, would you just stand? Tim is Aramark's representative to our school district. You may remember Rosie Wolterbeek, who worked with us through Aramark. And Tim, when Rosie took a job up in Reno, we were fortunate to have a gentleman of Tim's caliber come to us, and Tim works with our nutrition services folks, and of course is Aramark's representative, and I wanted to introduce him to you, so if you see him at some of our board meetings, you'll know what his role is with our school district. So Tim, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
I'd also like to let the trustees know that we were successful in our refunding of our school bond. So we had approximately $8.5 million of school bonds that were refinanced. And at the conclusion of that process, we were able to net a savings in our debt service fund of $554,985. So that came about because we were able to refinance this bond amount at the interest rate of 2.38%, which is obviously lower than the 4% where our bonds were initially sold. And I'd like to just thank AJ Fueling for his work and effort, and of course our ongoing thanks to Marty Johnson and Jennifer Stern for their help and support. In addition, I guess I would just add that Moody's who is in the business of rating the different organizations that are trying to sell bonds. We were able to maintain our AA2 rating, which is very high, and that signifies our capacity to be able to repay bonds. And so that's kudos to this board and to our school district for having that high rating. And finally, I'd just like to let you know that there are a variety of holiday programs that are coming up, and there's too many of those to name. But if you or any member of the audience or those who might be watching would just go to our webpage, www.carsoncityschools.com, you'd be able to find those different activities, and we encourage you to take part in them. And that's my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Moving on to number 4, board reports. Carson, hi. Jake Jones, welcome back.
It's nice to finally be back. It's been a couple of meetings and haven't been doing my job very well. Apologize about that. Okay, that's good. So starting with the unfortunate news about Manny, who passed away. He was our starting goalie for the varsity soccer team at Carson High. And we, after the accident, we were approached in student council, and the coach actually asked us to make a banner for the next, it was senior night the next night, I do believe, against Douglas. And we made a huge banner that said, wishing you a kick in recovery, I do believe it said. And that was a very moving moment for the parents who I happened to be sitting by, and also for the coaches and the players. And it's very unfortunate to hear about Manny, but it was great to see the school support. We rallied right behind him, and we were with him every step of the way. Also last month, we concluded Socktober, which is a program put on by Dude Be Nice. It's a company in Southern California, actually, and they collect socks throughout October, and they distribute them to homeless. And we collected 800 socks, over 800 socks this last month. And we are planning as a student council, we're going to make a community service project, and we're going to go hand out the socks ourselves during the homeless count. I don't know exactly what the term is for it, but we're planning on doing that, and that's going to be a very great activity for us. Colors for Cancer also was last month, and we had great support for each week, which each week we did a different cancer, leukemia and brain cancer and prostate and breast. And we had, each cancer has a color, and we had students dress up in that color once a week, and we had great support for that. And a lot of kids were walking around supporting cancer and trying to find them for it, and we had some donations as well. We had a donation jar in the student store at the school that raised quite a bit of money. We also have a Rotary Interact Club that just began, so it's looking for members. So if anyone has children at the high school that would love to get involved with Rotary, that's a good program to get involved in, a lot of community service. The girls volleyball team, they were at state last 2 weeks ago, and they were up against Coronado High School, who ended up being the state champions. But we went up there, and there was 60 or 70 kids cheering for Carson, all out, loud. And we had by far the best student section, the best support for any of the schools that was there, and it was amazing to witness. Football, as everyone knows, has been doing pretty well. Regional championships is this Saturday at Minogue against Reed at 1 o'clock. So definitely come out and support our Senators as we can beat Reed. And we also have finally decided on a Winterfest theme. So we are getting that going, and we're planning that. And that's generally what Student Council's been up to, and we're focusing on that. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jake. We've got to beat Reed. What is this, our third time against them? It's got to happen. Third time's a charm. Kaylee from Pioneer.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. Pioneer continues to offer a tutoring program available to all students 2 to 3 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We wrapped up our food drive to help the community, and we will be delivering approximately 100 pounds of food to Fish and the Ronwood Food Organization. In addition to the food drive, Pioneer also donated complete Thanksgiving meals, including a turkey, two 20 to families to help them celebrate the holidays. Pioneer will be sponsoring a contest to name our Panther mascot. The leadership group will be sponsoring a student 3-on-3 basketball tournament during lunch on December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We will have dog houses from the construction program that are for sale to the public. For additional information, contact Dave Johnson at the school. On January 5th, Pioneer High School will have its second blood drive of the year, so stop by to give blood and be a lifesaver. It's not on the report, but we did do something as a school to, in remembrance of Manny. We did a school-wide balloon, let go of balloons, and we put notes on it, you know, our last goodbyes to him. So we did that at lunch, and we invited their family and everything. It was emotional, but a great thing. So, and thank you. This includes the activities, events, and announcements for Pioneer High School.
Thank you, Kaylee. It's great to see how both schools work so well together and such a neat thing for both of you to do. It's really great to see the camaraderie. Candace. Steve.
Fremont. As noted earlier, they'll be joining, the 5th grade will be joining the other schools for the Christmas tree lighting at the Capitol on December 5th. Fremont's collecting toys for tots from December 8th through 15th. The Bingo for Books family night is Friday, December 12th, and dress-up day is the Friday before Christmas break. And then it'll be Christmas break, but that's what's going on at Fremont in the next few weeks. Thank you.
Laurel.
For Fritz, today was the turkey trot, and there were several kids who won pumpkin pies and turkeys. First place winners in the 2 laps around the track for each grade won a turkey. Also today, the kindergarten classes were celebrating Thanksgiving with a feast. I heard that there were pilgrims and Indians in attendance. And the Fritz 5th graders will also be singing at the Christmas tree lighting on Friday, December 5th. Thursday, December 11th is the 2nd grade program. It will be at 5:30 in the multipurpose room. And on December 17th, the band and choir concert will also be at 5:30 in the multipurpose room. Thanks.
Thank you. Joe?
A couple announcements for Carson High School. Freshman cheerleading tryouts are December 8th at 2:30 in Senator Square. Forms are available online, and if you're interested, they're due by the 5th. The Judicial Board at the high school meets tomorrow, and freshmen and sophomores interested in joining can pick up packets in advance of that meeting. Psychology Club has weekly Tuesday meetings, and they meet after school, so anybody interested, room 250 is where they meet. Senior makeup photos, Studio Monet will be at the high school next week on the 2nd. And if you're interested in makeup photos, you need to call the studio in advance to make an appointment. And the number apparently is throughout campus, so it shouldn't be too hard to find a flyer for them. And on a different topic, I just happened to attend Bordewick Bray's math night last night, and what a fantastic turnout. It was literally standing room only. I got there right as it started, and there were people trying to wedge themselves into the building. The line was that long to get in. Wow. And it was impressive. It was fantastic to see all the parents there. So those who went, thanks for attending. What great support for the school and for your students. And that's my report.
Ron?
Nothing.
All right, I have a little bit. My apologies go out to Empire. They sent me their newsletter, and I don't have a program to open it up. I waited till the last minute, so I apologize for that. So I'll make up for it in December. We did have our NASB conference, which is the Nevada Association of School Boards conference down in Las Vegas. Had a lot of good speakers, and including our closing remarks by the National School Board President, Ann Beiner. And Candace, since you are leaving, they sent you a certificate of appreciation for all your hard work, followed by Senator Heller and Senator Reed for your service. We had an election of new officers, which is Aaron Craner from Clark is now president. Joe Krim from Pershing is president-elect. Wade Paulson from Lincoln is now VP, and glutton for a punishment, legislative chair was me. So, felt like I was at a PTA meeting. Nobody raised their hand. Oh, Stacy will do it. She's in Carson. There is an opening for Teachers and Leaders Council. I sent everybody an email. Steve, I must have your wrong email because yours bounced back at me. So if you can send me your right email to put on the list. And if you're interested, let Dottie know by December 10th with a letter of indication. And the biggest thing that happened at this whole conference was Carson won an award. But it wasn't for School Board of the Year this year. Couldn't do it 2 times in a row. But we did get Outstanding Educational Journalism in Print by Terry Vance. Please stand up and get your... We do appreciate all the work you do, Terry. We've been nominating for 3 years, and finally, hey, 3 was a charm, so we're doing well there. Also, during the break, since we had so long, we just want to thank NNDA for awarding our district the Silver Apple Award for Outstanding Education Initiative, and that's a big kudos to all the teachers and administrators and Steve Pader's office for getting awarded for that and getting that seen. And that concludes my report. Mr. Pavlakis, would you like to introduce your?
Thank you. I'd like to introduce to the school board and the members of the public that are present, Melissa Espino, who is job shadowing me for her senior project at Carson High School. Melissa.
You're welcome, Melissa. Thank you. You're learning from the best. On to association reports. Seeing none. Moving on to public comment. This is the time in our agenda that the public can come up and make comments on any item that is not on the agenda. You have up to 3 minutes. Please identify yourself for the record and speak into the microphone. Anyone? Seeing none. Okay. Moving on to number 7. Presentation of 2014-2015 School Board Sponsored American Citizen Essay Concert winners. Mr. Stokes and Lynn from Wells Fargo.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This year, for our essay contest, we had a total of 176 entries. 24 were from the elementary school, 61 were from the middle school level, and 91 were high school students. This essay contest was open to all students in Carson City. The topic this year was the Land of Liberty, What It Means to Me. And essays were judged within each of the grade levels on the following concepts. They were judged on how well the student author adhered to the topic, what was the quality of writing, and what was the student's originality of thought. We had a panel of 6 judges who were very helpful, and I'd like to identify them and thank them for their efforts. 5 were teachers from Carson City School District. We had Lacey Carey, Lori Shine, Hillary Mendeguia, Cheryl Macy, and Pam Copperthwaite. And our partner over these many years, since 2001, I believe, has been our friends from Wells Fargo Bank. And I'd like to introduce Lynn Heisling, who is also one of our judges and who has also helped to promote and carry on this tradition. And with Lynn's help, she has also helped to pay for the prize money associated with this effort. So I'd just like to give Lynn a few minutes to say hello to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I really enjoy reading the essays. I don't have children of my own, so it's quite eye-opening to see what the elementary school kids write about. So thank you for including us. We love participating.
We certainly appreciate the assistance and the support that we receive from Lynn and the good folks at Wells Fargo. So for our winners, those individuals who were third place winners in our contest at these 3 different levels receive a $15 prize second place is $30, and our first place winners receive $80. So I would like to begin by introducing our third place elementary class winner. From Fritch Elementary, we have Kathleen List.
And just a note, parents, if you want to take pictures, you can come up here. You don't have to get the back of their heads. It's all good.
So for Kathleen, we have a nice little card, and ooh, they're out of order. Wouldn't you know it? There you go, Kathleen.
Thank you.
And was this hard for you to do or easy?
It was kind of both.
Well, Kathleen, we hope that you'll continue writing, and congratulations on being named as one of our winners.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Our second place winner in the elementary level is Janelle Ornelas, fifth grade student at Mark Twain Elementary School. And as has become our tradition, in addition to receiving these nice little gifts of appreciation, we also invite our first place winner to read their article to our audience. And so without any further ado, fifth grade student from Mark Twain Elementary, Jocelyn Foster.
Do I just start reading?
Yep.
Okay. Liberty is power, not power over a country or other people of any kind, but power over yourself. Liberty is the power to make your own choices, to decide for yourself every step that you undertake. You make the choices, and you are in control. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else will agree with your every choice or step you make. It means that you have liberty over yourself, and that you are the Lady of Liberty. Liberty is more than just a word. Liberty is not merely a feeling or something that we can express by defining just one way. Liberty is an expression often used, but its true importance is never understood. Liberty is the fiber, the invisible power that shapes our nation in what it should be. The freedom to choose the action you take is complete and unconditional. Unless one is physically unable to proceed with an action, nothing but one's conscience is keeping him or her from carrying through with it. The only thing that can stop you from being independent is yourself. Liberty means many things to me. First of all, liberty means hope. Liberty means freedom to choose what course we will take in our own lives, what path we will follow, what contributions we will make in our society, and ultimately to the world. Liberty, freedom, and independence. They are core ideas that America was built off of. In the life of a fifth grade student like myself, there may not seem to be, but there are examples of liberty in everyday life. Kids may not realize it, but since we enjoy freedom, we do have power. Liberty means freedom. Perhaps the thing that we closely associate with is liberty. Liberty is freedom. The freedom to vote, freedom of fair, trial by jury. Among many others, these are privileges that we enjoy as Americans. Having the power to make choices and take action is an extremely wonderful thing. But this power, most of the time, we will not pass unchallenged. For every action that you take, for every deed that is done, there is always an unfailingly consequence. Whether these consequences come from law or simply just people in our life, it's positive or negative. They are inevitable or unavoidable. Liberty means responsibility. Liberty begs us to live according to a higher calling, to set the bar a little higher, to contribute our own piece to the puzzle that is the United States and the world. Liberty gives us something extra to live for. Consequences, yes, but the choice we make are ours to make. Liberty is freedom, and in America, freedom is abundant. Everywhere we turn, there are examples of the everyday independence. Control over ourselves is something many of us take for granted. But in reality, it is special, and it is a gift. Liberty is something that is ingrained in all of us from the time we are young. It's what makes up the fiber of our country. One of the ideals that is closest to the very core of American society as a whole. All this makes up one heck of a lady. Her name is Lady Liberty. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That was really well done. Congratulations, and keep up your work effort and write a lot. That'll pay off for you in the end. Well done. Moving on to our next level, the middle school level, really was a clean sweep. We had our top three winners in this particular category were all from Bethlehem Lutheran. And I understand that Bethlehem Lutheran, that school is on vacation at this point, so I'm hoping that some of our winners will be here tonight, but I'm not sure. In third place from Bethlehem Lutheran, Thomas Mellum. Is Thomas here tonight? Doesn't look like it. So we'll make sure that Thomas receives his certificate and his cash award. In second place, also from Bethlehem Lutheran, was Lena Richardson. Is Lena here this evening? And our first place winner in the middle school level from Bethlehem Lutheran is Cole Wilczek. Cole, are you here this evening? Darn it. Well, like I mentioned, we'll make sure that we get the certificates and their prize money to them. So moving on to the high school level, I would like to introduce our third place winner, a 10th grader at Carson High School, who is Emma Breeding. Our second place winner is a 9th grader at Carson High School. That's Mr. Jacob Wolz. Give a smile there for Mom. All right, well done. Congratulations. And our winner this year in the high school category is Mr. Noah Scheck from Silver State Charter High School. Thank you. Congratulations. And do you have your paper to read? Okay, hang on.
Okay. What the land of liberty means to me. My definition of liberty is the right to choose what to do without interference from the government. Liberty is defined in my daily life as what I decide to do and how to do it. As I wake up in the morning, I choose what to eat, what to wear, and how to act. I eat a bowl of oatmeal, and as I eat this meal, I decide to sweeten it with brown sugar. This small act is my definition of liberty. This brown sugar is not necessary. It is not needed for my survival. It is an act that reflects my individual desires. No government entity is restricting my right to sweeten my oatmeal, nor is it restricting how much I use or where I get it. I could have made this brown sugar myself, but instead I have decided to purchase it from a store. I used money that my family worked for to buy this brown sugar. This, of course, is a metaphor that can be applied to almost anything I do. What I do is my choice, and as long as I do not harm anyone else, I should not expect resistance from the government. Liberty can be found in almost all aspects of our lives, and the easiest example of liberty is this very essay. As I write this essay, and as others read this essay, we are exercising our right to free speech. It is hard to imagine your own writing being restricted and controlled by the government, yet for some people it is a reality. Expressing myself and my opinion is a right that I'm glad to have. I use this right daily, and so does most everyone I meet. I cannot imagine living in a country without free speech. As writer David Gallen says about liberty, in the simplest and purest terms, it means being free to come and go as I please. When I came across this saying, I pondered it for a while, thinking about what it meant. And slowly it dawned on me. In its literal terms, it means that a person in the land of liberty can travel wherever they want and leave the country if they wish. Yet this can be applied past its physical meaning. It can be applied to free speech, religious beliefs, and so many other aspects of life. Regarding religious beliefs and practices, the choice to leave a religion or practice none is what liberty provides. In terms of free speech, to say what I want, when I want, to be able to change what I do, say, think, and believe without asking for permission is what liberty enables me to do. All of the ideas we have about liberty can be found in a single camping trip. Imagine, if you will, my family going on a camping trip in the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountains. For me and my family to leave on a vacation day is an amazing freedom. We can leave for a vacation and enjoy ourselves. On this trip, I am not trying to help the country or others, but I am taking a day off for my own personal enjoyment. We pick a fine camping spot in the woods and decide to eat. Much like my brown sugar example, we pick a meal and eat it at our leisure. It sure is great living in a free country, I exclaim as we roast some marshmallows over the fire. In the morning, I decide to go on a hike, and as I walk through the trees, I feel a sense of happiness, as no government is trying to control my actions. So next time you are going on a camping trip, just think about all the freedoms you are experiencing. I believe liberty is the right to do what you want, when you want. Liberty is a personal choice. Liberty is what you make of it.
This is for you. Congratulations. Well done.
Yes, okay.
Thank you. That wraps up our event, and we're again very grateful to all those who helped bring this about, and we would just like to wish our students continued good fortune as they go through their academic year. And I propose, Madam President, that we have a short recess and allow our students to leave and their families leave if they so desire.
So be it. Thanks again for coming and presenting, and it's exciting to hear all the students. We'll take a 5-minute break. Unless you're more than welcome to stay, too. we're going to have a quorum come back. Moving on to number 8, informational update on the Carson City Schools Foundation, including possible action for approval of amendments to the Article of Incorporations and bylaws of the foundation and resignation of the members of the Board of Trustees as the director of the foundation. For possible action, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We have, as you know, over the course of several school board meetings, talked about essentially bringing our existing foundation out of obscurity and putting it in a more public vein so that we can use this mechanism to assist the work of the trustees. And I've written out a number of items that are part of this process, and they exist in your board packet under the Articles of Incorporation. As you know, where the trustees in prior times were considered directors of the foundation, there needed to be some modification for us to change that particular condition and to incorporate new directors and essentially establish the foundation as an entity unto itself that had as its mission the sole purpose of benefiting the work of the trustees in the Carson City School District. So the Articles of Incorporation contain information about changes that will occur. It identifies, for instance, a method whereby funds can be received. It makes the promise that this group will not engage in or engage in activities or exercise powers that are contrary to its existence, and that this organization would not attempt to influence legislation or intervene in behalf of a political candidate. So these rules are established through statute and also through federal guidelines and laws. In addition, this Article of Incorporation identifies the number of board directors. So I expect that for a little while, and maybe even tonight while we're talking about boards, I will attempt to say trustees when I'm referring to this body and directors when I'm referring to the body that will make up the governing group of the foundation. But the board of directors will not be less than 3 members, and it will not be more than 9 members, with 7 members being the number of directors that we'll begin with. If there are any changes in the number of directors, then that approval has to occur through the existing directors. Established here under the Articles of Incorporation will have the term of the directors, and the term will exist in 3-year increments, and no director can serve more than 2 terms. So this statement essentially helps direct who and for how long individuals can serve as directors of this board. We also have it established so that the terms are staggered, and this will help to preserve the foundation's operational capacity and also their institutional knowledge. In addition to these board directors, the superintendent or his or her designee will also have an ex officio place on the foundation, as will the president of the Board of Trustees or designee. And so we have established a connection there that allows free-flowing information to go from one board to the other in a way that we can help to preserve the expectations and the work of both parties. In addition to the Articles of Incorporation are a number of bylaws, and I've mentioned some of the things that are listed in both places, including how the Board of Directors will be organized. It also talks in the bylaws about the powers of the directors and what's expected. For example, It's been agreed that the foundation would report annually to the trustees in a formal presentation so that that information could be given publicly. Obviously, there's still a great connection between the foundation and the Board of Trustees, where there's a member that actually serves as a director on the foundation from the trustees. It identifies the fact that it's the expectation of our foundation to engage Carson City School District's Fiscal Services Department as a fiscal agent once we get up and running with all of our 501c3 documents filed. If any movement in terms of fundraising occurs prior to that occurring, or we have the ability through the Western Foundation, Community Foundation of Western Nevada. Sorry about that. But they have agreed to help us and are willing to serve as that fiscal agent and in that capacity until we're officially up and running as a group. We have also, through these bylaws, identified the individuals, and I know that several of them are here this evening, who will take over these spots as directors of the foundation. We have Mr. Ian Hill, and he would serve a 3-year term. Mr. Mike Jackson, who would also serve a 3-year term. Heidi McFadden, who's not here this evening, a 2-year term. Mr. Britt Lewis would serve 2 years, and he's here this evening. And Mr. Tom Keaton, who's also not here, would serve a 1-year term. And I have asked Valerie Dockery to represent me as my designee in this particular venture. I wanted the board to be aware of that decision. Also, the bylaws talk about what happens if we have a vacancy on the board of directors, how is a quorum defined, and how decisions are made. So very comprehensive information, talks about, of course, all those things that are important to an organization like this, how directors are expected to operate if there might be a financial condition or if there's some kind of a conflict of interest. And so again, we're fortunate to have these details sorted out. I want to make note and recognize Mr. Pavlakis, who has helped us pro bono on this effort. So huge effort from his office to help us get this going. I know he was very nimble and fielded questions and spent considerable time and professional expertise. Thank you, Mr. Pavlakis, for your support of this effort. At this point, I'd just like to say that we're at that point where, in order for us to really move forward, we need your support. And an affirmative vote by the trustees this evening will amend the Articles of Incorporation and implement the Foundation's bylaws, and by so doing would name new directors for the Carson City Schools Foundation. So if you have any questions regarding our efforts this evening, or if you'd like to hear from any of our proposed directors or Mr. Pavlakis regarding questions to this end, we're here to serve at your pleasure.
Candace?
Just a few questions and edits. Section 4 of the bylaws, I think the terms are meant to start in 2015, not 2014. Is that right for Section 4 of the bylaws? Right. Okay. In terms of Section 12 dealing with self-dealing transactions, this is, if the board, prefers to keep it in there, I would just wonder why we would need to keep that whole section in there, because frankly, if the foundation's raising monies, I would prefer that the officers not be dealing with contracts that are going to benefit people that are serving on the foundation. So that's my concern with that section there. But again, it's really up to the rest of the board in terms of how they'd want to deal with that. I think I'm more concerned just in terms of adding just some qualifying language at the very end of the bylaws dealing with the acceptance of gifts. It would make me feel a little bit better if we could, with section 1, which is the acceptance of gifts, clarify that the board of directors may accept on behalf of the corporation any gift, bequest, et cetera, for the general purpose of the corporation. And then if we could add some language, something to the effect of, provided such gift does not violate school district policies or regulations, just to make sure to recognize that there's an umbrella of school policies and regulations that, still have to be understood. And the same kind of language for Section 3, restrictions. I mean, the board, the foundation can obviously refuse any gift that it wants to, but I would just feel more comfortable if there was some language saying that provided such conditions, limitations, specifications, provisions are consistent with the general purposes of the corporation and do not create conflicts with school board adopted policies and regulations. I mean, again, it's sort of the thing of somebody saying, I'll give you $1 million, but I want you to do something that would be flagrantly against school policy, school norms. Not that it would ever happen, but.
Understand? Okay.
So, thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, two things. Mike, do you feel the requests that Candace has made for the gifts of acceptance in the last, are those reasonable requests, you think, with this, or is that a simple thing to do?
I apologize that you don't have in your packet the articles that are being amended. With regard to the purpose and the existence of the foundation itself, the foundation exists to support the Carson City School District. So with regard to those last two items, including language in the bylaws to the effect that there wouldn't be a violation of a school policy, my personal preference, and I don't know what some of the new board members would have to say, but my personal preference would be to state it in a positive way, that provided that the gifts support the mission as stated in the governing documents of the entity, because the entity exists to support this school district and not to do anything that is destructive of the district. So if that's acceptable, that would be my suggestion in that regard, with regard to the last two comments. With regard to the conflicts of interest and the self-dealing provisions, Trustee Stowell was kind enough to give me a heads up, and she's given me a little bit of time to think about it. On the board, you have, and I'm just going to give you some what-ifs to think about. You don't have a banker, but you do have a financial advisor or person employed by a financial advisor. It's entirely possible that in this community you would have not only a banker or financial advisor, but you might have a restaurateur, someone from the Nugget. The foundation might want to book something with the Nugget. If we were to preclude any kind of self-dealing transactions, would that booking at the Nugget be prohibited? Would the foundation be prohibited from banking with the banker who is a member of the board of directors? I'm not suggesting that the answer should be yes or no. I'm just raising those as what-ifs. And, it's really what you feel comfortable with and what the prospective board members feel comfortable with going forward.
Steve?
Going back to the first item that we discussed here, when you mentioned putting positive language in there, do you feel comfortable that if we approved an amendment in that line, that it could be written in and would not need to come back to us for reapproval?
I think so.
Okay. Now, getting to the one that Candace brought up, which I think is a reasonable thing to ask about, something that I've seen, and I know we've run it into it in every level of government in Carson, it's because we're not a large city. And I tend to agree with your discussion that there's a lot of things with business and organizations that are intertwined. And what I've seen, if you block those relationships, it's really hard to do. It's really hard to go get donations or to put things together here because there's just so many things that there just aren't enough sources for everything. And I know, for instance, the Board of Supervisors through the years has often run into these where if you try to be completely free of any interface here, you just can't get things done. So I would suggest that we would not change that.
Laurel?
I don't have any questions right now. I would agree with Steve on not changing the language of the self-dealing. The only thing I couldn't find, and maybe it's not in here, because we will right now as the Articles of Incorporation stand, we are the Board of Directors. So does the amendment include our do we amend the Articles of Incorporation first and then resign, or how does that work?
The proposed motion would be that the board, that you trustees as members of the Board of Directors officially approve the amendment to the articles and the bylaws, and then you resign. And I've discussed that with Mr. Hill, and we agree that that would be the appropriate order of things.
So just as a format thing, we'll do the motion, and then if it passes, then do we have another motion where we resign? Because we don't have, we do, okay.
So is the intent that the directors only serve a maximum of 2 terms? Or is it a maximum of 3 terms? When I read paragraph 2, where it talks about that, it says directors may be reelected to a membership on the board for a maximum of 2 terms. And I guess when I read it 2 different times, I took 2 different things out of it. And I'm okay either way, but I'm just curious, is it a 2-term max or a 3-term? Okay.
It's a 2-term maximum, 3 years each.
Right, correct. Okay. And then I just had just very little, but on Article 5, Section 1, I just think there's some wording in there that repeats itself a couple of times. The corporation shall keep at its principal office, or if its principal office is not in Nevada, at its principal office is not in Nevada, at its principal office in Nevada. I needed an Advil after that.
But if it's the proper language?
If it's the proper language, that's fine. I'm just an engineer.
Maybe there's an extra.
I'm sorry, that was on page 6.
It needs to be corrected.
Ron?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, this is an action item. Ron?
Do any of the directors want to get on record before we make the motion?
They're tired of comment.
Madam President.
Oh, wait.
Oops.
Hang on. Mr. Pavlakis.
Stacy, just for the record, with regard to the comment from Trustee Cassiopo, I would delete the language, the comma, all the way down to in Nevada. So that section 1 would read, the corporation shall keep at its principal office in Nevada the original or a copy of the articles and and the bylaws as amended to date.
Okay, Madam President, I move that the Carson City School District Board of Trustees adopt proposed amendments to the Articles of Incorporation and bylaws of the Carson City Schools Foundation, and that we authorize the superintendent to file with the Nevada Secretary of State a certificate of amendment and a new list of officers and directors of the foundation as presented. And this motion would include the two amendments that were proposed and what Joe has suggested to be changed.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Joe. Any board discussion on the motion? Any public comment on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And thank you guys for hanging in there and going through all the hoops. We really do appreciate it, and we are so excited for your new journey. Okay.
Is it time for another motion?
Yes.
I would propose that the current Board of Directors resign from the foundation, and that we accept the proposed slate of directors in our place.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Any public comment on the motion? None of you want us fired?
I just wanted to make sure, because it's got and for resignation, we're okay with open meeting law, that is on the agenda. That's included in there. I just want to make sure we're not.
Yes, you. The only request that I'd have is that you not accept the slate of directors. I don't want any inference that you are appointing these directors. So you're just.
I will amend the motion, so it is only that I make a motion that we resign from the Board of Directorship of the foundation.
Second by Ron. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. It's all on you guys.
Madam President, I'd just like to say thanks, not only to you folks, but also to the directors. I know they've been working and high expectation, and I know that they'll make us proud, and a lot of confidence in their knowledge, skills, and abilities, and look forward to working with them over time. So thank you.
And Madam President, again, Mr. Pavlakis, thank you for all the work that you put in on this. So we got the right language, and we can move forward, and these guys can have a field day now. Thank you.
Moving on to number 9, discussion and possible action on the superintendent's recommendation for Kathleen Allison, DBA, Nevada Photo Source, as a select firm to provide marketing and public relations services for Carson City School District as an independent contractor for possible action. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Madam President. As you know, there has been effort and work towards improving our image, not because our image is bad, it's just because we don't have a lot out there. And so we've taken a number of steps and are continuing to take steps, and probably months ago, we started talking about ways that we could really move forward with having a professional help us with some of our needs. And staff worked to create a request for qualifications, had professional services here that were desirable for the school district in a variety of areas, but particularly in marketing and in public relations. And we received interest and completed documents from 2 firms, and we were able to establish a criteria for selecting the one that we would work with. We brought together individuals in my office, Mrs. Towns, Mr. Fueling, Mr. Cornick, and myself were able to talk about what we had observed through the application process. And as we went through and discussed the relative strengths of each of these candidates, we decided that the work of Ms. Kathleen Allison doing business as Nevada Photo Source was really the person that we wanted to begin this effort with. And I've got some examples of some of her work here, and I'll just hand it over to President Wilkie, and you can take a look. You've probably seen Mrs. Allison at a number of community activities. I think she has actually visited our venue several times and has done a tremendous amount of work with the schools already. And we're excited to incorporate her and her team as part of our efforts to tell our story. And you can see by virtue of the materials that she has submitted that extremely high quality in print material. We're excited to work with her. We have a variety of things that are in place right now, and we look forward to using her skills and expertise to helping us move forward. Interestingly, when we were going through the materials of both firms, we found that each firm recognized the other firm for their area of expertise, and so we anticipate that there will be use of the firm that was not successful in helping us in a variety of ways as we move forward. We also have work that's going on with some of our local high school students in this effort, and also are expecting to have several university interns also be available for us during the spring semester. So putting all of these things, or bringing all of these things together, is really where we're hoping that Mrs. Allison can help us. And I'd like to introduce Kathleen, or Kat Allison, as most of us know her, to come forward and be given a chance to say a few words. So, Mrs. Allison.
Thank you. This is where he told me I wasn't going to have to say anything. So we think that the district's got a lot to be proud of, and we're excited to help you get that message out there. So we look forward to starting.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Kat, are you open for a question?
I probably.
And this is just, I know your work speaks for itself, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, but and this is about the process, and I'm just curious. We had two good respondents. Should we be surprised that we only had two respondents? I mean, you're familiar with who's out there in the community, and I guess I'm asking should we have had more? Did we?
I would say it probably had more to do with just a request for qualifications instead of a specific project. If you had said bid on a project, you might have gotten a different response.
Okay.
So I think that's why you probably had some hesitation, because people weren't really sure what you're looking for yet.
Okay.
That's my guess.
And I'm not
That's
saying
my
we
guess.
should have changed it. I'm just curious from an applicant standpoint. So
That would be
okay.
my guess.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we're excited because I've waited 5 years for some little PR marketing person. So welcome aboard, Kat. We're excited. Yeah.
I move that the Carson City School District Board of Trustees approve Kathleen Allison, doing business as Nevada Photo Source, as the selected firm to provide marketing public relations services as an independent contractor for the Carson City School District as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Second by Laurel. Any other board discussion on the motion? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Welcome aboard. Moving on to number 10, possible discussion and possible action to eliminate the following CCSD policy. Second reading, policy 533, safety patrol, for possible action. Mrs. Kima.
During the first reading, it was mentioned that teachers no longer train students to oversee our school's crosswalks. Therefore, this policy is invalid. Since that first reading, no one has come forth to say that we keep the policy or that we should reinstate this practice. The current practice is that we hire adults to oversee the safety of our crosswalks. It is recommended that policy 533 be eliminated. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, this is an action item.
I move that the Carson City School District Board of Trustees approve the elimination of CCSD Policy 533 and approve November 25th, 2014 as the eliminated date. Elimination date?
Second by Ron. Any other board discussion on the motion? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. You can get rid of that one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Moving on to number 11, discussion and possible action on superintendent's evaluation for the 2014 school year for possible action. So everybody has their form out, ready to go? Do their homework. So what we're going to do, or what I'd like to do, but if you have any other input, please feel free to share. I'm going to go over each topic and what it covers, and then we'll start with Candace and go down the line this way on that. And then you guys can give your rating, and if there's any background you want to give, it'd be perfect opportunity to let Mr. Stokes know. Are we all ready? Okay. Starting number 1, leadership and culture and district culture, implementing a shared vision that focuses on improved student achievement, promotes academic rigor, empowers and supports staff to reach high levels of performance to achieve district and school objectives, promote understanding and celebration of educational successes, promote safety, tolerance, civility, and acceptance, develop, implements, monitors, and promotes continuous improvement process. Candace.
I don't think there's any question in my mind it would be superior, not only because of what the expectations are, but because of all the stresses on top of normal day-to-day things dealing with Race to the Top, strategic plan, all the changes that are going on at the state and the national level. Absolutely superior.
Steve?
I agree.
Laurel?
Me too.
Joe?
Same, superior.
Ron?
Same.
Okay. Moving on to number 2, policy and governance, employer-superintendent relations. Working with the board to formulate internal and external district policy, demonstrating good school governance to staff, students in the community at large, establishing procedures for successful superintendent board interpersonal and working relationships, taking active responsibility for executing district policies, understanding and interprets the role of federal, state, and regional governments, policies, and politics, and their relationships to local districts and schools, use of legal and other counsel and governance and procedures to avoid liabilities. We'll start with Steve this time.
Again, I think that we've practiced all of these to a very high degree, and I rated it superior.
Laurel?
Yeah, I think it's superior too. The only thing I would say is that sometimes with the executing district policies, just a little, just because I had one where we just had enacted a policy and it hadn't yet trickled down to the local school site. And so just a little more communication between that.
Joe?
I voted superior on this.
Ron?
Yes, superior.
Moving on to number 3, community relations and communication. Lead staff to establish effective two-way communication with students, staff, and parents and community. Demonstrates effective communication skills in individual, small, and large group settings. Promotes involvement to all stakeholders to fully participate in effective education. Establishes effective school-community relations, school-business partnerships, and public service opportunities, understands and uses the media opportunities to shape, inform opinions and relations. Laurel.
I'm going to go with very satisfactory. I think we can still do a little bit more with our media opportunities. Not that anything that we've used so far hasn't been good, but we can do more in that area.
Joe?
I had Superior. I had one comment, and it's not a reflection of Mr. Stokes. It's more of maybe a question to ponder at a later date. But lead staff to establish effective two-way communications with students, staff, parents, and community. When I go around and talk to some of the teachers, there's still some sentiment out there that some voices aren't being heard to a full degree, and I don't think that's a reflection on you, but I think there's a perception out there, and I'm not sure how we take steps to make sure staff feels comfortable expressing their opinions, in a professional way without any type of perceived ramification, if you will.
So your vote is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Superior.
Ron?
Very satisfactory on this. And it's mostly related to the communication piece. Excuse me. Very satisfactory, and it's related to the communication piece, and I think that both internally and externally, and I think this is as evidence tonight, we just haven't got there, but we're moving there. So that's why I'm going very satisfactory.
Candace?
Yeah. I think we've made a lot of progress since last year, not only with hiring Kat Allison, but also in terms of reaching out to students and UNR. I mean, that's very exciting. But I think we're also fortunate because a lot of the PR is done by the Nevada Appeal, so we're very lucky in that respect. But I think we've come a long way, so I would say Superior.
Steve?
I have very satisfactory. I tend to think that this is an area in which we do have quite a bit of room for improvement. And one of the reasons for that is that as opposed to a lot of the other things where we're working internally with our own employees and staff, when you're working with communication, you've got the receivers out there and it's tough to be perfect at. We've made a lot of improvements, but I think there's quite a bit of room there. There's a reasonable room for improvement still left to us. So right now, okay. So we need to reach what do we have? 3 of us at very satisfactory at the moment?
4 at very satisfactory and 1 at Superior.
Okay, I just was curious. Thank you.
So does the Superior one mind coming down to very satisfactory? Okay. All right, so we'll make that one very satisfactory. Moving on, organization. I was doing so well, too. Organizational management, gather and analyzing data for decision-making and recommendations to the board and other entities, develop and monitors long-term plans for school and district technology and information systems, develops and monitors successful facility management plans, including security, maintenance, and replacement programs, plan for community financial support for facilities via bond issues, establishes procedures for dealing with emergencies such as weather, threats to schools, school bullying, violence, and trauma. Start with Joe.
I think we're doing a good job here. I think Mr. Stokes is keeping us well informed, which is showing me that he's obviously looking at the data. And while there's folks out there that have different opinions on the data or the length of data, I think we're doing a good job with what we have. So for that reason, I gave him a superior rating.
Ron?
I was between very satisfactory and superior. So would you put me down for a 3.5? And I say this with all sincerity. I think we're almost there, but not quite.
Candace?
Superior.
I have superior, and what I've enjoyed is I think that whenever there's been a question that we've been very quick to respond to it, and I know that we've, we responded to the questions about whether we had secure schools and to making some major changes there so we could increase our confidence in that area. And I felt very comfortable with the superior rating.
Laurel?
I was feeling very satisfactory, but I could lean towards superior if that's where everybody's going to go with it. One of the things I was thinking of with emergencies and stuff that we need to deal with, too, we still need, I don't know, you've probably done it and we haven't reviewed it, but our reunification process after we have it and just improving our communication. I think we're getting it out there to parents when we have school lockdowns and getting that information, but somehow that we're the voice of the message of what's happening so that it's not coming through Facebook or other social media for parents to find. I think we can improve on that.
So since you guys are, we have these, we rounding up? Go to superior?
Go to superior.
Okay, we're rounding up. Moving on to educational programs and curriculum development, planning development. Stays up to date in curriculum, teaching practices, learning and testing theories, successfully plans, implements, monitors state mandated curriculum and test changes, establishes curriculum planning, anticipating occupational trends and school to career opportunities, assesses and reports student progress by using required and appropriate techniques, involves faculty and stakeholders in enhancing and renewal of curriculum to align curriculum instruction and assessment. Ron.
Again, I'm at 3.5 on this. And I'll have the comments on both this one and the next one, only as it relates to proficiencies. And I know we're moving there, but I still am looking at the reading and math, and as it relates to teaching practices, testing theories. So, as I said, I'm at 3.5.
Candace?
Superior.
Steve?
Ron, I was bouncing between this one and the next one as whether one's superior and one's very satisfactory or the other way around, and it was much for the same reason. And I guess my feeling is a lot of these we're doing right, but somewhere we've got to recognize the fact that we have room to go. If you think it's in the educational program or the instructional leadership, either one would be fine with me, but I think we need to recognize that we've got some room for improvement in some of this.
Well, just
I'd join you on very satisfactory here and change the next one, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and as we talk this through, the next one on the instructional leadership, when we look at the bullets on maximizing student achievement, on the learning style differences, I had some questions about the, we talk and we're all.
But we're on number 5.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
let me make it more clear, because I'm the one who unfortunately brought up the next one when I shouldn't have. So I'll go with very satisfactory on this one.
Laurel?
Yeah, I did very satisfactory too.
Joe?
I had superior on this one.
So would you be willing to come down to very satisfactory for the room of improvement?
Sure.
Okay. Seeing so, and you too, Candace? Candace? Yes. Okay. So we're going to make that one very satisfactory. Moving on to instructional leadership, professional and leadership development, collaboratively develops, implements, and monitors change so that the most effective teaching techniques are in place following current research and best practices. Instructional resources are focused on maximizing student achievement, implements and manages process to assess teaching methods, classroom management, and strategies for student-based learning, analyzes instructional resources and assigns them to a cost-effective, equitable manner, establishes instructional strategies that include cultural diversity, learning styles, differences, and individual potential. encourages improving staffing patterns, scheduling, organizational structures, and professional training to support improving student outcomes. Steve.
Oh, I have to jump on this first?
Uh-huh.
I had Superior here. One of the main reasons was, as we've been going through our Race to the Top programming and the changes involved with this, I think we are well ahead of the state curve and well ahead of much of the curve as we've kind of, because of the agreements with Race to the Top, we've been forced to be ahead of those curves, and I think we're implementing it probably as well as we can.
Laurel?
I had very satisfactory on this one. Focusing on how, I don't know, I think we do a great job with professional development, but we have to make sure we keep teachers in the classrooms. And our elementary schools, I'd still like to see them coming up on how they're doing.
Joe?
I had very satisfactory on this for similar reasons. I think talking about having the most effective teaching techniques in place, it's not really a deficiency, it's a hard thing to answer. What is the most effective teaching techniques? You talk to 3 different people and you get 3 different answers sometimes. But I think there's room to grow here, and so for that reason I picked very satisfactory.
Ron?
And I have very satisfactory, and again, just to continue the conversation, and as most of you know, that I'm really locked in on just the academic proficiencies, reading, math. We're just not there. We don't have that culture of achievement. I use that example of Bordeaux Bray. They're up here, the rest are down here. Something more needs to be done, and that's why, and I think we're moving there, and I think, Richard, you're moving there, but I don't think we're there yet. That's why I've just said very satisfactory because of the movement, but not superior because we're just not there yet.
Candace?
I would say superior, and I would say that, everybody who's working at this school district, there is a culture of achievement, and I would say some of the things that have happened over the last year in terms of full-day kindergarten, the rollout of the one-to-one, these are all things that are making the schools excel. And to me, it's very easy just to look at the proficiency ratings, but I think we can fall into that sometimes too easily. And it's not just the score that's coming out of that school every year. It's what's going on in the classroom and how that child is learning. And you can't always measure that by what those proficiency scores. It's just one indication of what's going on. So, superior.
Okay, so we have 2 superiors and 3 satisfactories. Very satisfactory, sorry.
So how about the president? Are you voting?
Oh, do I get to vote on this? I never get to vote, so it's like, but it's not a tie. Because it's very satisfactory. I think there's room for improvement.
Stacey, I don't think evaluating is voting.
Okay, so I just. That's true, I know, exactly, I'm just a record keeper. We're just gonna go with very satisfactory on that one. Use my executive power. Human resource management, staff and personnel relations. Demonstrate successful use of system and staff evaluations, date for personnel, policies, decision-making, promotion of career development or growth and professional development. Seeks to employ highly qualified staff as budget and contractual obligations allow. Promotes improved evaluation and compensation programs. Understands and applies legal requirements, contractual obligations, district and board policies in employment and union negotiations. provides technical advice to the board and representatives during labor negotiations to keep the board apprised of negotiation status, to understand and effectively administer contracts, and keep abreast of legislative changes affecting the collective bargaining process, budgets, and contracts. Laurel.
Well, this is kind of tough because maybe his staff has different opinions than us because we're not the staff. But looking at it, I think as far as what we can relate and stuff, the information that's provided to us in keeping us abreast on the union negotiations, the advice during that, those type of things, the advice on, we don't know all the intricacies of how you're hiring, but everything that we do see, I'm going to go with Superior on this.
Joe?
Yeah, I think the first bullet, it's hard to grasp that, but everything else I have Superior, so I have no problems with the Superior rating here.
Ron?
Superior.
Candace?
Superior.
Steve? It's unanimous, Superior. Values and ethics leadership. Understands and models appropriate value systems, ethical and moral leadership, coordinates with public agencies and human services to help students grow and develop as caring, informed citizens. Explores and develops ways to successfully deal with difficult and diverse issues, promotes establishment of moral and ethical practices in every classroom, school, and operation of the district. Joe?
Superior, all around.
Ron?
Yes, Superior plus.
Candace?
A ditto Superior plus.
Steve? I agree. Laurel?
Yeah, Superior.
Superior. Financial management and business matters. Demonstrates successful budget management, including forecasting, planning, cash flow management, and controls. Oversees the monetary policy of the district, including revenue projections, budgeting, resource allocations, and control. With the board, plans financial strategies to maximize district success. Directs financial resources to support the goals and requirements of the district, and maintains good communication with the state and federal financial administrative offices, maintain transparency of financial records. Ron?
Superior.
Candace?
Superior.
Steve?
Superior.
Joe?
It's unanimous.
We're almost there.
I'm going to just make a note on that, too.
Okay.
Just a compliment. I continue to be impressed with your hiring of our new financial advisor, so to speak. So I like the communication that's going on. So thank you.
That's a ditto. Report on Empower Carson City 2017 provides quarterly reports on progress of goals, objectives, and strategies, and provides an annual report. Candace?
This is the only area that I was concerned about. Last summer, Ron and I met with Ben Contine, and Ben had laid out a very detailed chart in terms of evaluating the strategic plan, and that was the last time we saw it. And I think what happened is that there was sort of a morphing over into relying on the community PLC process maybe as a way to have feedback on the strategic plan. But I think what concerns me is that the board really needs to see the staff provide, or Mr. Stokes prepare an annual report that basically goes through each of the elements of the strategic plan and say, has it been done, what still needs to be done, versus relying maybe too much on the community PLC, because the community PLC, a lot of the people that go to those meetings are not totally cued in, and we need really the staff, administration to tell us whether things are working with the different goals and strategies in the strategic plan. So that's one thing I think would be very helpful to have that instrument be used basically at the end of this school year. So for me, long-winded, it would be just very satisfactory.
Steve? Candace?
I'm doing Superior with this on the provides us with quarterly reports and the annual report. I do believe we're getting information and we're getting the updates, but as far as how far Empower Carson City is going, I recognize that we haven't fully implemented that. We still have work to do on the GATE program. We still have work to do with family engagement. So the strategic plan is not fully implemented, but the information that we've been provided is Superior.
Joe?
I was on the fence between Superior and Very Satisfactory, and I went Very Satisfactory for some of the reasons Candace relayed. And also, I'd like to maybe hear from, from staff, say at the school levels on, we're hearing district level reports on how it's going with Race to the Top and everything, but sometimes we don't get a good feel for, the folks in the trenches, if you will. And so just a comment more than a criticism, that I'd like to hear a little bit about how it's going in the classroom.
Ron?
Well, yeah, I had Superior here just on the way the words were down here on the reports. However, what Candace brought up makes sense, and what Laurel, your concerns. We need to have measurement indicators on each of these sections. For example, under Goal 1, Learning Beyond the Classroom, Objective 1.1, and we're talking about providing extended programs for extended program opportunities for every student. Somewhere we need to have an understanding, this goes back to Joe and what the teachers expect in the classroom. What does that mean? And then from that, we say, all right, we have the elementary, we've got middle school, we have high school, and we should be putting down what programs we're projecting with, because it's all with the community partnerships. We're talking to our community partners, such as a Mike Jackson, what can we do in return? But how do we get these opportunities to every student? And we need those measurement indicators to say this quarter or in this 6 months, we anticipate or we project getting to 1,200 students, and here are the types of extended programs that we hope to have in place. We may make it, we may not, we may exceed this. But it starts a thinking process of how this all fits together between teachers, students, and community partners, how we're helping each other to build this community. And we need that type of a matrix to say, and we've got it pretty well spelled out in the strategic plan. In the strategies, we're talking about science, engineering, math, technology, the arts, literature, and beyond. So we need to be pretty specific about where we're going and how, in the end, are students benefiting from what we're doing. So I agree. And so that's why I would go with Very Satisfactory. We're moving there, but we're not there.
Steve?
As a side note, I think there's been some good points brought up, and I think some of these points, perhaps refined, need to be bullet points in this area for next year. And maybe, Renee, could you email, would it be, with your permission, would it be possible to maybe email Ron and Candace and Joe and ask them for their response? And we can add a couple, 3 bullet points under here for the coming year. Is that reasonable? Okay.
So I have 1 Superior and 4 Very Satisfactories, is that right? So we're going with Very Satisfactory on that one.
With the scoring, you have 36 points, just so you know.
Okay, so now that's been double checked, it's a 36. So that falls within Superior. So the total evaluation is Superior. Any other comments?
You'll need a motion on this.
Well, I thought I would let Mr. Stokes speak a little before we.
What do we need? We haven't needed him yet.
I don't even know why you and I are even here, Richard. They don't need either one of us for this
You keep trying
one.
to get people involved today. I don't know what you.
Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I'd just like to thank those who work closely with me. It's a labor of love. It's a lot of thought and a lot of reflection. And I appreciate working in Carson City. It's just of any place I've ever lived, this is truly a great place, and surrounded by professional individuals who really are top-notch at their jobs, and it's a pleasure. We had a staff meeting today, and I told my staff how much I appreciated them, just because they do really make our district look good. And they're ethical, caring people that are family people, and they've got kids, and so they know what it means to try to make resources and operations and conditions right for our own students here in our school district, and so that goes really a long ways. And I value your perspective as well, because as family members and people who have children and grandchildren in our system, I mean, it just really gives you a unique perspective. And it's quite a balancing act when you think of all the things that we've got going on. And I want to say thanks to our staff, because we are asking so much of them, and they work so hard. And I look forward to carrying on some conversations to help us to refine those areas where we're still working to improve. And thank you for your input. And so again, I just say thanks for the opportunity to serve here and to work, and appreciate your confidence in me and in my team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always refreshing when we have our state convention, and this time we even got to go to Switch down in Vegas, and you get to meet a lot of people. And there were people from Vegas that aren't trustees, they're teachers, they're IT people, and they're just talk very highly of you. And it's really nice to go other places and hear that you have a great superintendent and the great things that this district is doing, considering some other districts don't. And it's been, I think, the whole thing with you and the board working together and giving you respects and giving you input. I was glad to see that you didn't get superior and all, because then how do you grow, and your head would get big. So,
Plus, it wouldn't be accurate. So.
So saying all that, this is an action item.
Can I just, before the motion is made?
Ron?
And Richard, as a board member to you, I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate the staff that you have and the direction we're going. And I've seen you, and I mentioned this last time, in the legislature. You're respected there. We're really fortunate to have you. And like Stacey said, we'll just keep going together.
I'd like to make a comment and echo a couple of things that Mr. Stokes has brought up. And maybe I probably say this every year, but I think you're correct. When we evaluate the superintendent, we're really evaluating the leadership in our district and the actions of everyone in our district. And, maybe we judge you, we're forced to judge you by contract, but I agree. We have very good people doing some very good things out there, and as much as this is a recognition of you, it's even more so a recognition of them. So, thank you all.
And Richard, just to ditto everybody, thank you. I enjoy working with you and the staff, and with kids in the district, I get to see all the different schools at different levels, and it is a reflection on you, and it really is a great district. And looking back, I couldn't have picked a better district to raise my kids in. So thanks to you and everybody in the school district.
And to you all. Thank you.
And with that being said, I move that the Carson City School District Board of Trustees deem the overall rating of Mr. Richard Stokes, Superintendent of the Carson City School District to be superior for the 2014 calendar year.
Second by Ron. Any other board discussion on the motion? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
You are superior. Moving on to approval of consent agenda.
I move that the Carson City School Board of Trustees approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, F, H, J, and K as submitted.
Second by Laurel. Any other board discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Request for future agenda topics. Ron?
Yes, this is something I talked to Dr. C. Padere and Dallin Goslin. And maybe they've already talked to you, Richard, about bringing or having a presentation by our the school counselors, both at the middle schools and in the high schools, of how things are different in the last 2 to 3 years, and what are they doing more to benefit the students, and it's all entwined in the race to the top of the strategic plan, but they play a vital role in going forward. Say with Melissa here, I think we just need to hear what's different and how things are changing for the benefit of the students.
Anyone else? Steve?
This isn't a future, but I think we have to read this. I mean, I'm embarrassed just handing her a folder and that.
I'm sorry.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, here we have Dean Heller, United States Senator, who's presenting a certificate of senatorial recognition to Candace Stoll. In honor of your service as a member of the Carson City School Board, your dedication and commitment to Nevada's education is commendable, and best wishes in all of your future endeavors. Dated November 22nd, 2014, and signed by Dean Heller, United States Senator. So,
And I'd also like to thank Lynette Conrad, who I understand also received the exact same certificate, but thank you.
Now I feel like a terrible president. Terrible president. But you know those short timers. Seeing none, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back here in December. Thank you all.
Thank you.